Second session that we have. Today we put together great presenters in the topic of road transport in Nepal. So we have great presenter from Nepal and from US. Please stay throughout the presentation. I just wanna add one more thing in here. Since this is an ongoing effort, if you know anyone who might be interested to share their thought, their experience, and their project with us, we can definitely host them in the upcoming months as well. So I would like to welcome you all one more time, and I'll hand over to our president, Thakur Dakal.
Namaskar, good evening, good morning. This is Thakur Dakal, President, American Society of Nepalese Engineers. Welcome to this program. This is a web series we host every month. And today we have world-class transportation engineers from Nepal, USA, and Australia. They will be discussing about Nepal's development. Before that, I would like to introduce a little bit introduction about American Society of Nepalese Engineers. American Society of Nepalese Engineers was established in 2007 with renowned professors, scientists, and engineers living and working in the USA. The main objective of this organization is to bring together all the professionals and help themselves and help the development in Nepal, as well as professional development among professionals in Nepal, experience sharing, and all those kind of good stuff. In regards to that, we have done a lot of things in the past. We have done 14 annual conferences. The 15th annual conference will be going to be held in July 11th and 12th this year. So stay tuned, go to the American Society of Nepalese Engineers website, and call for abstract is already open. Please consider presenting in this conference. People all around the world will be presenting in this conference. And also there are a lot of other good things we are doing. We give a merit award and a graduate student research fellowship in Nepal, as well as we have started giving a research grant. Recently this year, we gave about $6,000 to about 5-6 students doing research in various fields in various universities in Nepal. We have a lot of other society programs, like we regularly release our newsletters, magazines. We have society webinars. This we do every month. I already told. We also support research and development, and we share experience and knowledge among the professionals in the world, in Nepal, in USA, and all over the world. So by saying this, I would like to make it short. We have a lot of other programs also going, so please contact us if you want to be involved, get involved, if you want to volunteer and participate on those programs. Saying that, I would like to hand over to our moderator of today's program, Dr. Shyam Sharma. Shyam Sharma has more than 28 years of experience in transportation survey design, operation, and safety, including transportation projects and program management. He completed his PhD in civil engineering and traffic engineering from Wayne State University in the USA, Masters of Engineering in Transportation Engineering from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand, and Bachelors of Engineering from Institute of Engineering, Pulchar Campus, Nepal. He is currently working as a senior transportation senior traffic engineering manager in Oregon Department of Transportation, USA, where he manages various federal, state-funded transportation operation, signal and intelligence transportation system, and highway safety program, Northwest region of Oregon. Dr. Sharma is registered professional engineer in Oregon, USA. Now, Dr. Sharma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thakurji. Greetings to all of you. It is my pleasure to moderate this webinar on transportation system in Nepal, issues, challenges, and opportunities. The topic of the webinar is very profound and timely. For the developing countries, it is one of the most important infrastructure systems that promotes growth and development. You all are welcomed to this webinar. The presenters of this webinar are highly recognized professionals working in the field of transportation system in Nepal. We have selected 4 components of transportation system for this webinar: the planning component, design, maintenance, and operations component. As we all know, that traffic safety is also a critical component of the transportation system. We will be discussing traffic safety as applicable in each of these components. Please note that the presenters will be presenting their materials focusing on road transportation context of Nepal. In today's webinar, the presenters will be presenting for the next 50 minutes, and there will be a window of 30 minutes for questions and answers. Please type your questions in the chat box and send to us. The questions will be directed to me and will be asked to the presenters according to the component of the presentation. Microphones will be muted to help reduce the noise. Without further delay, let me introduce our great presenters for today's webinar. Dr. Partha Parajuli has over 43 years of experience in highway transportation and traffic engineering that includes teaching, research, consulting services in planning, design, operations, maintenance, and evaluations. Dr. Parajuli's experience in Nepal, Australia, and also in other countries is unique, and he is highly recognized professional in the field of highway transportation. Dr. Parajuli's relentless effort to promote traffic safety in Nepal may have been noticed by many of you. He is covering design component today. Our another presenter, Mr. Tulasi Sitola, has over 35 years of experience in highway planning, design, operations, and maintenance. He was the Director General for Department of Roads and also the Secretary of Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport in Nepal. He has firsthand experience from the ground up to the policy level on highway system in Nepal. He is still very active in transportation system development and policy issues, and is still working on several high-profile projects in Nepal. Mr. Sitola is covering maintenance component today. Our another presenter, Mr. Keshav Sharma, has over 25 years of experience in highway planning, design, operations, and maintenance. He was the Director General for Department of Roads and is currently the Joint Secretary for the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport. He also has firsthand experience from the ground up to the policy level on highway system in Nepal. He is covering planning component today. Dr. Padma Sahi has over 25 years of transportation experience that ranges in research, teaching, and consulting services in highway transportation. He was one of the founders of the Society of Transport Engineers in Nepal, and also currently the president of the society. Dr. Sai is covering operations component today. With this brief introduction of our presenters, I'm now inviting Mr. Keshav Sharma for his presentation on planning. Mr. Keshav Sharma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sam sir. I am going to present my slides. I try to, yeah. Is it okay, the view?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank American Society of Nepalese Engineers for organizing this program and inviting me as a presenter. I am very much thankful to the President, Mr. Thakur Dhakal, and all the members, friends from American Society of Nepalese Engineers. Similarly, I have my great regards to all other presenters and the participants joining here with us. I would like to start without any delay my presentation. This is on road transport planning in Nepal, practice, issues, and way forward.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now it is working. So first of all, this is not only in Nepal, this is the global issue, global thing, approach to road planning. It is involved with evaluation, assessment, design, and siting of transport facilities. This is a part of community planning, prerequisite for the development of for the development works and basic requirement for any new project. Actually, planning is the best utilization of available funds in a systematic and planned way. So it is equally applicable to the transport planning as well. Uh, Methods of transport planning. This is from textbook of road transport planning. This is the standard practice. There is a formula derived like national highway, state highway, and other major district roads is equal to this formula. So the A is for agriculture area, B is for non-agriculture area in square kilometer, N stands for number of town and village with population range 2,000 to 5,000. T stands for number of town and village of that population, and D is development allowance, 50% road length calculated to be provided for agriculture and industrial development during next 5 years, and R is for existing length of the railway track. So this formula actually is not applied in the planning of Nepal's road network, because we have the road, only the road is a dominating mode of transport, as we have no railway, significant railway till now. Okay. So it is. A problem in slide sharing, please. Can you help me from there?
You want me from here?
Yeah, this
Sure.
from the host. Slide number 5, I think.
Yep, that looks good.
Modes, yeah. I wish to present the modes of the next one. Modes of, sorry, the previous one, 5. Okay. Modes of transportation in Nepal is heavily dominated by the road transport, as 90% movement of goods and freights depends on the roads. Similarly, air transport, it covers about 8% of the movement, and railway is only 35-kilometer broad gauge, just ready for operation. It was narrow gauge in the past from Jayanagar Indian border city to Nepal's Janakpur, and 17-kilometer from Kurtha to Bijulpura. It is almost ready. That is only 52-kilometer. It is ready for operation, but it is yet to start the operation. We hope from the next month the rail will start the regular passenger service. Waterway commercially till now, waterway is not in commercial operation. Some small vessels on the major rivers for rafting or touristic purpose, and the small ferries are now in operation. Next. Thus, road system in Nepal has been classified as central road system for national highways, feeder roads, and roads having specific objective. Similarly, the local roads system, that is district roads, village roads, agriculture roads, main trails, and mule tracks, and village trails, and urban road, the three major categories of road system. But still there is a lack of technical classification, functional classification based on traffic volume, road transported or tonnage, and location and function. Nepal Road Standard 2017 has envisaged, has provisioned this, but still the detail in transport policy and plans we have to put it. Just the country has been entered into the federal system, so these classifications are now changed. The next slide.
Um,
So,
There was a question here, just quick. There was a question, why can't we present in Nepali also? So just feel comfortable, whatever you feel comfortable. I just wanted to share that question.
Okay. So national roads network, हामीसँग strategic road network, which is under the federal government. It is almost 15,000 kilometers. And local road network is almost 75,000 kilometers. But after the federal system, we have just designated 80 highways as national highways, which is almost 50,000 kilometers in length. Provincial highways and local roads are yet to be designated from the respective level of the governments. Next. Regarding the planning approach, I already presented in my previous slide that we had not applied that formula or any other standard as in the textbooks. We had an approach that road extension or development of the country is based on the following approaches. Immediately after the advent of democracy, and that is in 1951, it was felt a reliable road network was needed. After that, development of the country, promotion of national integrity and efficient administration of fast and reliable means of communication was required. The best alternative could not be other than the road transport. So it was also realized that road links to the neighboring countries, link with China and India at that time. So this Tribhuvan Rajpath and Ornico Highway constructed at that time. First long-term road master plan was developed in 1963. Next. After that, the road Master Plan 2003 to 2022 was developed. Before that, the approach for road planning development plan, we had some strategies applied at that time. That is, establish road link from Kathmandu to the nearest border town, construction of East-West Highway, construction of link road, China border, Ornico Highway, link road to economically vital center within the country, construct access to all zonal and district headquarters. It was actually the strategic strategies and the strategy of the government how to develop the road network. Then 20-year road master plan for strategic road network was prepared in 2003 up to 2022 period. And then local road network, for the local road network, all the districts, they prepared district transport master plan, and the local level roads were developed based on that master plan. Next.
Yes, Sabji, you have about 2 minutes.
Okay, current strategies, now the strategy has been changed after the 20-year master plans enforcement, strengthening political and administrative linkage, poverty alleviation. It was linked with poverty alleviation, development and utilization of social, economic and cultural potential. And the overall plan was based on National Transport Policy 2002. After that, 20-year master plan, priority investment plan, periodic plan, 3 and 5 years periodic plans we have, and then MOPIT in 2016 prepare a 5-year strategic plan, and then annual projects. These are the hierarchies of planning for road development in Nepal, but not complied fully, as the annual projects comes from out of the plans. Next. This is the strategy we have adopted in our priority investment plan. That is core highways and secondary highways. We are developing the highways in 4-laning, like expressway, Kathmandu Tarai, on the basis of this priority plan. Next. We have these road sections to be upgraded according to the priority program of the government. That is East-West Highway, Kathmandu Mugling Naranghat Birganj corridor, and Kathmandu Pokhara. These are under 4-laning in these days. So I would like to go for the next slide. So there are some issues of planning in road transport in Nepal. Transport policy is almost 20 years back, so it couldn't address the 3-tier, this federal system of the government. Lack of multimodal transport plan, road sector is dominating heavily on the transport sector. No single authority responsible for the road development. Even in the central government, there are Ministry of Local Development, Ministry of Urban Development, and Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport. So there is no single agency. Confusion in priority for projects, scattered projects, many projects with less financial resource. So too many road projects, political domination over the professional idea during planning, non-feasible road projects, various standards, no integral national standard. Various agencies, they have their own standards, non-compliance of the standard planning process or best practice, and reluctance of private sector in the development of roads, and sustainable use of the road asset as well. So for those addressing those issues, I would suggest some way forwards in this slide. New transport policy addressing the rights and responsibilities of all three tiers government under the federal system. Integrated transport master plan coherent to all feasible modes on competitiveness and complementary basis. Single agency to be responsible for each tier of the government for the development of road transportation. Effective coordinating body for all level of governments. Investment priority on the basis of feasibility and strategic importance. Full compliance of standard planning procedure. Friendly environment of the private sector investment and road development. Adequate consideration since the planning phase in operation and maintenance of the existing road network. These are some way forwards which we have to consider in planning of the road transportation system. This is the this is all which I wish to present here, and I will address any queries from the participants.
Thank you.
Any further?
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Let's move to our next presenter. All the questions we will be answering at the end of the session. Dr. Parajali, the floor is yours now.
So you will be controlling my slide, right? Someone
Yes,
from
sir.
there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Thapa will be, moving your slides.
Okay, Mr. Thapa, can you show me the first one? Yeah, that's all right. The first one. Go back to first one. Yeah, the first slide, what I wanted to do here is to emphasize on the basic fundamental principle of the design of safer roads. I am here starting from this fundamental principle in the design because this is the main thrust of the design of roads here in Nepal that we are trying to achieve. The first fundamental principle is definitely we need to agree that we can prevent road crash. We can prevent road crash. That's not what is happening in Nepal. The second issue that I want to highlight in the design of safer roads, because I'm not just talking here today as the design of road only, I'm talking about the design of safer roads here. So the next fundamental principle is to move away from blame game approach. The blame game approach is that the road asset owner, they blame road users for not providing or for not designing safer roads. So this blame game should go away if we want to start to think about the design of safer roads. The principle behind this safer road design is that we need to adopt a safe system approach which recognizes first, people make mistake. The human body is fragile and it can take only certain load limit, impact load. Then we also need to recognize that it is a shared responsibility. And then we need to build a safe and forgiving road system while designing the road. It's not just about designing the road, designing the embankment, designing the structure. It's about designing the environment itself. Next slide, please. With this slide, I'm taking you to the university time. Your university time. These are some of the elements that we have to deal with in the design of roads, which you are all aware of. Basically, the road engineering, with the civil engineering background, people all know about it. This is the university time, what we will be dealing with in the design of roads. Let's go next. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, we need to highlight now, recognize a bit of what are the design philosophy. There are old school of thought, there are new school of thought. And I'm today presenting a bit of new school of thought because this is very critical in the design of safer roads. There are three different domains that have been applied in the design of roads. That is a normal design domain, and that is an extended design domain, and the next third one is the design by exception. So the difference here in the design of roads in Nepal here is that we tend to adopt a normal design domain only. Nepal road standards and many other standards, they basically require that the people or the road design engineer design a road with the values, with the shoulder width, for example, with the carriageway width, for example, in the normal design domain, which is a bit more flexible or more liberal than what we can use for, during the application of the extended design domain or during the application of design by exception. This method of design is very important for the delivery of safe road system, because while we are trying to design the road with normal design domain values, yes, they will be safer, but they may not be economical or may not be cost effective. So we have to design a fit for purpose road and at the same time be safe. So in all cases, we need to design a road that is safe enough, but we cannot compromise safety, but we can compromise a bit of efficiency. So that's the whole message that I wanted to give in this new design philosophy, which is being adopted in Canada, probably in USA also. I'm not quite sure about it. Maybe you guys can highlight about this, and very popular in Australia. So this is the kind of thrust that I want to flag this to the Nepalese engineers here, as well as provide some sort of interaction dialogue, starting this dialogue that we need to develop a Nepal road design standards, applying those three different concepts, three different design domains that will give you more cost-effective design solution. Next, please. So this graph just explains what is the design philosophy behind design domain and design by exception. So probably that graph is enough to explain what is the cost implication or the benefit implication of designing the road with different parameters, design parameters that is under the design domain, different design domain, normal design domain, extended design domain, and design by exception. Next, please. So just wanted to highlight some of the benefits of using design domain concept. It allows flexibility to the engineers rather than just taking one point figure, one single figure in the design carriageway, for example, 3.5 or 3.75 meter wide. It allows you, the designers, to use different figures that they can think is reasonable and that will be fit for purpose and so on. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, about the selection of values and standards. So most of us are very much familiar with the use of design standards. In Nepal, we have a Nepal Road Standard, NRS 2070. So those standards, to me, uses the values under normal design domain. And we need to have the flexibility. The designer needs to have the flexibility to use values less than that. For example, 3.25 meter width may be enough. Why we have to use 3.5 meter wide carriageway, or even 3 meter may be enough for urban roads. Why you need to provide 3.5 meter carriageway in the urban road? That's a typical example. There are many other examples also where we can apply extended design domain and design by exception values. Next, please. Okay, the graph shows the application of the design domain to use a varying width of shoulder from maybe 0.5 meter to 3 meter shoulder width we can use. That is the message that I wanted to give. There is no such rule, that no requirement that the road should be designed with a 3 meter wide. A national highway should be designed with 2.5 meter. The current Nepal road standards requires that we have to design a road, national highway with 2.5 meter shoulder. But what I'm saying here, if there are constant terrain or other constraints, we can go as low as 0.75 meter. And by the way, Nepal road standard also allows that 0.75 meter with shoulder in constrained situation, but that's not the case for all other parameters. Next, please. Okay, typical use of normal design domain. We cannot use this normal design domain or extended design domain, whatever we call it, or a design by exception in every values. That's for sure. But what are the typical use where we can use normal design domain or extended design domain? So the new construction, we can, yes, there is no limitation. We can use in greenfield environment where there are no built up area, we can use normal design domain value. But if we are designing a road in existing road corridor, like now widening to 4-lane on national highways, east-west highway in Nepal, then we should be allowed, the engineers should be allowed to use extended design domain values. That's what I wanted to highlight here. Next, please. Okay, now the application of the design by exception. What elements we can use in the design that can applied, that we can apply design by exception rule. So these are the different potential candidate elements for applying design by exception. Like for example, if the road is very in tight urban area, we may reduce the design speed to 40 km/h, even 50 km or 40, even sometimes we may apply 30 km/h for service road. So these are the different examples where we can use engineer's judgment to design the road elements with design by exception. Okay, now the design domain, for just to give you an example, how can we apply design domain? When you use wide centerline treatment for safety measures, we can use normal design domain 1 meter wide centerline treatment. That doesn't mean that we have to use everywhere 1 meter centerline, 1 meter wide centerline. We can use 0.6 meter wide centerline treatment if we apply extended design domain concept. And if you can demonstrate that, yes, there is a possibility or there is a risk is assessed and risk is mitigated, the safety is not compromised, then we can use 0.5 meter wide centerline treatment also, or the median treatment if we apply design by exception. So you can see we can have a range of values that we can use in the design of roads. It's not just one figure like in Nepal road standards. Next, please.
Sir, you have 2 more minutes.
Okay, now almost I'm finishing the basic concept. This design exception process, this chart just allows how we have to do document the design exception process, because we are reducing the value of the different design parameters. We need to demonstrate the need. So this chart shows how we can apply this design exception process. Next, please. So this is the road classification and connection strategies that we may need to apply in the development of Nepal, new revision or new version of the Nepal road standards. By the way, the whole thrust of this presentation is basically the Nepal road standards that we are using here in the design in Nepal is very old document. There are a lot of things that need to be done, and there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of challenges, and therefore it brings a lot of opportunities for improvement in the revision of the Nepal road standard. That's the thrust of this presentation, in fact, and this is what I am suggesting. We need to revisit the road classification and connection strategy before we develop a new version of Nepal road standards. Next, please. So there are the examples here given: design controls and design classification for rural roads. So I don't want to go into detail here, but you can see this later. And if you have any question, you can always come back to me. The issue that I wanted to highlight is that we have a rural road, we have a urban road environment, for which we need to have a different design controls and different design classification. Next, please. And that was for the rural road, and this is for the urban road. Next, please. And based on that classification, this is just one idea to flag to the Nepalese engineers and the engineers practicing in USA who want to contribute to the development to the new revised Nepal road standards. That's design controls, classification, and consistency. So these are the classification approach that we may have to suggest in the development of new road standards. Next, please. And this is for probably urban road environment. Different class of road, and there are so many classes of road that we can introduce in our road, not just national highway or just not the collector arterial or something like that. So this is based on the speed, based on the functional classification of road, and based on the availability of median in the center, without median or without median. See, this is divided, arterial, urban. And this is a road environment road classification design below, which shows a lot of the figures here. I don't want to go into that detail. So these are the parameters just to plan what can we suggest in the revision of the Nepal road standards. Next, please. Yeah. So there are so many numbers here. You can look at this. So that is basically the fundamental issue here is the classification of the road for urban and rural environment should be different, and there should be so many nomenclature, so many classification we need to use. That's just a few, 1 or 4 or 5 like that. Let's go next, please. And this is another one, basically the rural or urban event design classification and design speed again. Next, please.
Next, please.
Yeah, next, please. Yeah. Again, the same thing issue here. Go ahead. Now, okay. So I'm just now comparing with those figures. So many figures there, so many classification of roads that we need to introduce if we want to design a different class of road. The one class of road does not fit. One size does not fit all is the basic philosophy here. So therefore, but here in what is the difference here in design controls and design classification? Functional classification, Nepal road standards is that there are only 3-4 classes of road with 4 different ADT and design speeds. So if you have a class 2 road design, then you have to apply only 100 km/h. What on the previous slide I wanted to show there is there are so many classes of road that we can apply. Now the last slide here is about the takeaway message. Okay, safety is the first level of performance standards that we cannot compromise. We must meet in every design, whether this is a normal design domain or extended design domain or design by exception. We cannot compromise safety. And the next message is we have to embed safety in the design process itself. It's not about retrofitting safety measures later stage. It's a part of the design process. That's what I wanted to highlight. Then the next third point here is do not wait to retrofit safety measures, to wait for the black spot and treat that black spot later. People have already died. So we should not let to die. That's a safe system approach. Next is overseas design guides incorporate safety requirements. Our Nepal road standards does not. That is the key message I want to give here. So we need to develop a road design standards in Nepal, incorporating safety requirements at all stages of the design, in all stages, in all types of element. Then, obviously, the last 2 points with red font is overhaul Nepal road standards. That is the main message. If we want to design a road, good road, safe road, we need to first start overhauling Nepal road standards and supplement Nepal road standards with guide, manuals, technical notes. And this is where American Society of Nepalese engineers practicing in Australia, in Canada, can bring together with the engineers practicing in Nepal to bring knowledge, skill, and innovations in the development of transportation system in Nepal. That is what I wanted to say today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Partha sir. We truly appreciate your passion in traffic safety and design. Thank you. Now, the presentation would be for Mr. Tulasi Sitola. Sitola, sir, now floor is yours. Could you unmute yourself? Yes.
Yeah, I did it. Thank you, Shyamji. Thank you, Thakurji and Padamji for making this event happen. So today I'm going to discuss with you all the maintenance of road asset in Nepal. Yeah, next slide, please. I would like to begin from what a road is. The road is more than what we think it is. Actually, the OECD International Transport Forum has defined road as the uh, more than asphalt, concrete, or steel. It is the backbone of national economies, providing connections for people and goods, access to jobs and services, and enabling trade and economic growth. So road has a broad function of providing services to all. Even though we stay at home, we get newspaper or milk, or so also kids are going to school using bike or bus, and roads deliver services to all, even those who are staying at home waiting for mail, e-commerce, delivery, or nursing services, and ambulances. So for those, even to those people who do not travel on road is essential. That is, I start from there, and this essential commodity is not properly maintained. Road maintenance is one of the neglected area, and we need to maintain our roads to preserve the road approximately in its originally constructed condition, or to maintain the level of service, and also to protect the adjacent resources and user safety, provide efficient, convenient travel along the route, that is a level of service. And it follows that it is impossible to build and use a road that requires no maintenance. Hence, we need a regular maintenance of roads if we want to use it in a very good level of service, and also for preserving the asset. Next. So we know the importance of road maintenance because poorly maintained roads constrain mobility, significantly raise vehicle operating costs, which comes to us, increase the accident rates and their associated human and property costs, aggravate isolation, poverty, poor health, and illiteracy in rural communities. The value of road asset decreases in absence of proper maintenance. The cost of rehabilitation and reconstruction that results from poor maintenance is quite high. Maintenance of road asset to a good standard depicts the progress of that country. So road maintenance is a very essential work to be done, and which is mostly neglected in most of the developing economies. Overcoming the backlog and implementing road asset management benefits the whole society and country by improving decision making with better data, ensuring mobility and its benefit to society, managing the network in a highly efficient way, ensuring that this huge financial asset is preserved, and providing a safe and reliable road free of risk to road users. And well-maintained roads promotes better living. Yeah. Next slide. Now I'm going to talk about the Nepal context of maintenance. Nepal had an ad hoc maintenance practice started during Rana regime. There was some maintenance. There were some roads in Kathmandu Valley during Rana regime, and they used to maintain the road through an office called Bato Kaj Goswara. Responsive maintenance through gang labor and maintenance was practiced up till 2053 BS in Nepal. Just up till 25 years from now, the maintenance was just responsive. Plant maintenance consisted of routine, recurrent, and preventive maintenance was initiated in the year 2053 BS, and it is adopted till now. We are in that system. There are mixed results with this plant maintenance approach, and it is time to think about new, efficient, and innovative maintenance system for Nepal. Performance-based maintenance contract, PBMC, was applied to some road section on East-West Highway with donor support during 2060-2067 BS. The results were not as planned, and PBMC was then stopped in the year 2067, and it is already 11 years. We could not start it again. We are discussing. We are thinking of restarting it. The environment and preparation were not adequate for that time, so we have to discuss again and start the PBMC. Next slide. Lack of adequate maintenance and lack of maintenance funding is the major cause of backlog. There is no adequate maintenance funding, and for whatever funding we have, we are not consuming all the money allocated for maintenance. So the result is a poor maintenance of our road asset. Maintenance activity did not get due priority at all levels. No growth in maintenance budget over the last 4 years. If we look at the budget for the last 4 years, it is stagnant. Asset and network management activities are needed to ensure that the transport agency has a robust system and process in place for asset and network management planning and investment decisions, which we lack as well. We need to adopt an approach of nationally planned, provincially delivered, because the planning and the central government needs to make the policy, and the implementation of most of the road goes to provincial. So we have to go for this approach with our federal system. We all know that stitch in time saves 9. So we have to maintain our road in a very proper time. So it is often said that it's better to maintain the road 1 year early than 1 day late. And user to pay and fee for service is the present concept of maintenance and commercial use. Our roads are facing problems in maintenance because we have a very poor water management on our roads. In one of the photo, the dust management is also there. So regular maintenance is also poor with us. Next. So if we look at the components of road maintenance, the road maintenance has 6 components. And if we look at the cost of the road, there are a couple of elements that comes within, and the road agency is responsible only for 2 of the components, construction cost and maintenance cost, whereas the BOC, travel time, comfort, health, road safety, and environmental costs are borne by the road users and the society. Next. Next, please. Road is an asset, and it should be managed in that way. Roads is an asset from economical point of view. Investing in new or existing road is increasing the capital stock of society. Transport infrastructure is necessary to enable production and trade of goods and services and to provide citizens with mobility. Chronic underfunding and poor maintenance very quickly damage this huge asset built at great expense and effort in the last decades. A well-managed transport infrastructure is vital to the economic stability, growth, and social well-being of the country. Highway structures like bridges are fundamental to the transport infrastructure as they form essential links to the road network. It is not the public interest to allow highway structure to deteriorate in a way that compromises the functionality of the highway network, be it through restrictions or closure caused by unsafe structures or the disruption of traffic through poor planning of maintenance work. Next slide. So there's a concept of safe and fit for highway. Actually, it was from the UK Highway Act 1980, which says the road should be safe for use and fit for purpose, which means that it requires a highway structure to be managed in such a way that it does not pose an unacceptable risk to public safety. And also it requires a highway structure to be managed in such a way that it remains available for use by traffic permitted for the route. So these 2 fundamentals are to be taken care of while managing a road. So nowadays we have the technology can help us in managing our roads very much, the LiDAR technology. And also I have an example. 25 years ago, I walked from Nagdunga to Lothar just to inspect the road, just to assess the road for maintenance. Now this job can be done in a couple of hours. Also we have laser scanning techniques, and even the speed and axle load can be measured by moving vehicles. So the technology has supported us a lot, so we can do the job very efficiently and very quickly. Next. So we have the DOR vision, we all know, is that we want to ensure the roads 95% of our strategic road network in good and fair annual condition. But if we look at the result, it is less than 80%. So we are far away from the target. So we want to also substantially reduce the accident rate. And the DOR mission is to contribute towards the betterment of living conditions of the people through effective, efficient, safe and reliable road connectivity. There is a road safety action plan 2013-2020, and now another one being prepared 2021-2030. It is about to finalize, and Road Safety Act is in the Parliament. Next.
Sitola sir, we have 2 more minutes.
Okay, I'm going to finish it quickly. We know the concept of payment management. We want to we don't want to allow the payment to deteriorate to a very low service level. So we intervene it at regular intervals to preserve the asset as well as to maintain the level of service. Next slide. Yeah. So we have a maintenance strategy, whether to allow the payment to or our asset to deteriorate to the lowest level and then invest on rehabilitation and reconstruction, or go together with routine maintenance, periodic maintenance, and preventive maintenance as well. Next. So the cost of maintenance intervention is less if we do it regularly, and if we let the road to deteriorate and work on one step, then the cost goes very high. So this is what I want to show here. Next slide. Next. So we have to maintain or manage our roads in a life cycle management concept. It has been realized that the entire road and bridge asset of the country must be operated, maintained, and preserved in the life cycle management principle. A country's road infrastructure inventory is a backbone. We need to have an inventory first. Transport infrastructure provides availability for public and commerce in order to allow for performing daily tasks. Road network constitutes one of the largest government-owned asset, and road administration must maintain, operate, improve, replace, and preserve these assets, while at the same time carefully managing the scarce financial and human resources needed to achieve these objectives. Next slide. Yeah, there are accidents on our roads. Average 8 lives are lost daily. So we are not able to control it till now. Next slide. So safety and maintenance are correlated. Insufficient maintenance generates deterioration of infrastructure and increase the safety risks for road users. According to recent study, what we was found in USA is that US highway facilities are related to deficient roadway conditions, are substantially more lethal factors than drunk driving and speeding, or non-use of safety belts. Similarly, there was a study in Nepal in 2019 where the Jumla road was found 44% of accidents took place due to defects on road. And on a recent study done by myself, it is found that the poor road is the third condition for accident after driver's negligence and over speeding. Next slide. The way forward, sufficient maintenance fund is to be guaranteed for proper maintenance of road asset. An updated road inventory is a must for any road agency for efficient maintenance. Proper system of road maintenance, such as monitored plant maintenance, road asset management, and PBMC is required for Nepal road network. Since road maintenance is also associated with safe mobility, high priority should be given to the maintenance. Dedicated maintenance contractors should be developed within the country. Prompt and appropriate maintenance of road network supported by a good decision tool is required for asset preservation, safe mobility, and social prosperity. So the maintenance activity is often neglected. No adequate fund is not provided to it. This should be ended. We have to, the policymakers should think about it and go for the regular funding and proper maintenance. That's the message I want to convey to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, Dr. Padmasai, the floor is yours for operations. Please unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Okay. Good morning and good evening. First of all, I would like to thank the American Society of Nepalese Engineers and the Society in Nepal for Transport Sector Engineers. It is Society of Transport Engineers Nepal, SOTEN. And now today, we are especially concentrating on the issues of transport system in Nepal. And in the case of Nepalese context, really the transport sector, which will be the most important pillar for the development in the future. Please, next slide. That is also next. I'm going to speak on the operations or transport for the transport service provisions in the context of Nepal. Please, next. I will, when we talk about the services or operations in the transport sector, I will include here the transport service and operation provisions for infrastructure perspective and regulatory perspective and operators perspective. And at the end, I will talk about the users perspective, road users perspective, and I will include the safety and issues. I will highlight the issues, challenges, and opportunities in this sector. Please, next. First of all, when we talk about the fundamentals of operations and services, it means all the operations and services are, governed by some transport policies, legal framework, and quality of service. It should be assured, assurance of services or enforcement and control, and they are principally based on the competitiveness and quality service. The targeted result of all these efforts in the transport sector, building the roads, building other infrastructure, building or organizing very huge institutional arrangement for the efficient transport system, safety, and benefits of that system. Please. Next. When we talk about the operations, we have to manage the road users perspective, road users demand and society's demand, and it should be linked with the infrastructure, and it should be managed, and responsibility, interaction, and control of all these elements, it gives the better result for the operations. Please, next. And when we talk about the operations, to get the best and better operation, to achieve the better results, we have to continuously continuous effort for understanding the system and optimizing the system for using our experience, and we have to analyze our performance. We have to deliver this, how to deliver the service. It's continuously we have to be engaged in this system while we are investing huge amount of money to this sector. Then we have to be very careful for the operations and service for the better result. Thank you. Next. Okay, in the context in Nepal, we know the transport, already maybe previous presenter also told that we have dominant is in the road transport services or road transport sector, and there is the major issue of operations which has been neglected. Is a previous presenter told maintenance has been neglected. It means operations are more and more, completely missing concept in the context of Nepal. Thank you. Next, please. The basic, again, if the earlier what we are thinking, we were thinking that infrastructure to invest the infrastructure, it means it for the service to serve the society. But presently, we have to have new thought on this aspect, because it's in every infrastructure, engineering structure, when we talk or when we are going to invest, we talk about the benefits, we talk about the cost. So it is a business. We should think the business. It is business. So benefits, how to take benefits, we have to think very seriously, because when we invest a lot of money, we have to have basic think about the concepts of benefits and the what is on the values, goals, and visions, and what will be our basic objective on this investment. Please, next. Similarly, when we are going to think about from the plan, infrastructure perspective, when we construct the roads, we forget the operations, how maybe we already defined or already told that safety is neglected while designing, planning, and in operation also it has been I mean considered. This is operation is mostly missing concept. I have already mentioned from the infrastructure perspective. We have to consider what will be the operation from the perspective of operations. We have to have plan. We have to design in line with the operations. We have to consider construction, consider the operations specific constructions and maintenance as well. Next, please. In the regulatory aspect, regulatory or government institutional aspect in Nepal, central, federal government, we have a Department of Roads and, other local infrastructure development, DOLI also, and provincial, they have also institutional, they have also, and local authority, they are also building the roads, and, the management or the operations, only we deploy the traffic police. They do not have any legal tools, they do not have capacity, and they do not have any resources. And this sector, operation or the service sector, has been neglected in this institutional arrangement also. Next, please. The individual, in the context of the transport operators, we know that all the transport services, especially road transport services, is provided by the private operators. They are the business in this sector is not developed in the business mode, any business models, fragmented business or isolated business, individual business. This creates the, they do not have any reliability to provide the service, and they do not have enough capacity, and they do not have any other skill and other investment plan and investment strategy. So the profit, they make a very little tiny business with the day-to-day profit, day-to-day operations, and they do not have any kind of the technology and other things. It means from the perspective of operators, the business operation, transport operation is also we do not know any the new context and new good things from these existing services, transport services. Please, next. From the road user perspective, when we talk about the road user, we all are road users. We need to have the reliability of our travel. We expect better and more frequent services. It should have the affordable, cost for the services, and safety. Maybe it's first thing, safety, and we have to have the better user-friendly services. This means these all things are the result and operation part, though. So these things should be based on the good or technology-based operations. Then we can achieve our objectives. We can get the benefits from our huge investment. Now, we have to establish, or we have to need the, transport service provisions, operations for transport service provisions by uniting the regulatory aspects, infrastructure aspects, social aspect, and most importantly, technological aspect. In the transport sector, traffic management system and other road management system, we have to have new technology, and we have to, for better results, for better management, we need to disseminate. We need to have use of this technological aspect. Now, perspective, and we have also in this, all these missing things, all these bad things, we are going to have better infrastructure. We are planning, we are investing more money on infrastructure. Suppose we have everywhere now, every province and every sector we have, every area we can see the multi-lane highways, including we are on the expressways also under construction. We have now more international airports. Railway initiatives is also coming, and a number of east-west and north-south corridors has been about to complete. It means this huge investment will be will give the more benefit if we make the operations very efficiently. Then we can get the results for the prosperity of our country. Secondly, this sector is neglected. As we have already argued that transport service business should be developed. It means transport service business model has not been yet, not discussed, not any policy. We have to make this. Suppose urban mass transit system also, we are only talking, not doing anything to make the better transport, mass transit or public transport in the urban or big urban area like Kathmandu. And similarly, traffic management. Here, we know the traffic management, we think and we give the responsibility to the traffic police. Traffic police is nothing because we have not any, the government of Nepal doesn't have any single traffic engineer. That is the case. We know this. And the other thing is integration of mode, routes and services. These are the issues, very important issues to address by the operations, to address by the management, and that using the technology. And managing the infrastructure is very challenging here, because we know that even the government or public corporations are difficult to manage. Similarly, in the same way, the roads with the huge investment is difficult to manage, and we have to have better understanding and better policy, and better approach for this sector. Next slide, please. Now I am.
We have 2 more minutes.
Okay, I will soon finish this. Now we have, we know without any technology, now we have internet, we have communication technology. It's easy to, transfer the technology. So now for the better operations, vehicle technology is available. It's not difficult for us if we understand our context. Similarly, now in Kathmandu, Department of Roads has started ITS system. We are going to have manage the intersections with the adaptive traffic control systems. Similarly, the highway transport system also operations and safety initiatives are a lot of, as previous students have told, we have Road Safety Act in the Parliament, and we have road safety action plans. It means we are going forward, but the operations, we have to think very seriously on this aspect. Please, next. Maybe that is my aspect. If there will be any issues and questions, I will answer. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. This is great. I think we covered a lot of material here with 4 of our great presenters. And I believe we talked about traffic safety a lot in almost all of our components, as we promised earlier in the beginning of our webinar. So we have gotten a lot of questions, and there are several suggestions also. It is exciting to see the level of participation here, very active audience. Thank you. Thank you for making it so interactive. I would like to go look at the questions and then answer. I'll ask the questions to our presenters one by one. Please unmute yourself when the questions comes to you. Let me start the first question to our planning component. Mr. Keshav Sharma, are you ready?
I am here, Shyamji.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. The question for you, one question here is, based on the plans and programs being implemented till now, where do you predict Nepal's road network will be coming in 5 years?
Thank you, Samji, for the question. As for our plans and projects being implemented so far, we can predict that we will have 4 east-west highway in operation within 5 years. That is the existing east-west highway, Mahendra Highway, then the postal highway through the Tarai settlements, and then Madan Bhandari Highway. This is along the foothill inside Tarai. This is inner Tarai, and then Mid Hill Highway as the main backbone for east-west transportation. And similarly, almost 5 north-south highways linking Indian border and Chinese border. For example, Viratnagar, Dhankuta, Khandbari, Kimathangka. The second one, Janakpur, Bhitamod, Dolakha, and Lama Bagar. Similarly, Pokhara, Jomsom, Korala, and this is from Bhairava, Pokhara, Jomsom, Korala, and then Nepalganj, Humla, Simkot, Hilsa. 2 are now existing, this Ornico Highway and Galchi Trisuli Sapru Road. So, and the last one is from Darchula Tinker. It is from Mahendranagar, Baitadi, Darchula and Tinker. So 7 north-south roads will be in function. So this is from the government, federal government. Similarly, the provincial governments and the local governments will build the roads feeding to the highways, national highways and feeder roads as well, so that we can predict that there would be a good road network, both north, south and east-west, the basic road network for the transportation. We can hope on this way.
Thank you. As we have a lot of questions, I would highly encourage all of our presenters to be as brief as possible in answering as eloquently and as briefly as possible. Let's say that way. I have a question for here, Dr. Parazali. Road design standards, design guides, design manuals, or technical notes are living documents, and they need ongoing review, evaluation, and updates. The question is, are there any institutions in Nepal or standing contractual arrangements with the research centers, institutions to undertake this kind of continuous update of our standards?
Okay, thank you, Sam. As far as I'm aware of, we don't have any research center or organizations to undertake that role. At the moment, my understanding is that Department of Roads is developing or updating or reviewing their standards, Nepal Road Standards 2017 by their one, and the Ministry of Urban Development and something housing, something, I don't know exactly, MOUD, is just published 2 years ago, published Nepal Urban Road Standards. Similarly, Dolly has their one standard, but there is no single unified center like we have in Australia, or you do have in USA, or you, Canada have TAC, Transportation Association Canada. That kind of institution, I don't know, maybe Keshav sir and Padam sir can highlight, or Tulsi sir can highlight about this more than I do, because I have not been here in this country since 20 years. Yeah, probably maybe other people can add on that. Thank you.
Tulsi sir, you are going to add or myself?
Sam sir, तपाईं म्युटमा हुनुहुन्छ। तुलसी सर तपाईँ म्युटमा हुनुहुन्छ।
Yeah. So regarding the research and development, yeah, we are discussing about the research and development issue.
I think single standard.
Okay, yeah, there is a need for single standard or umbrella act or something. There was one interesting phenomenon that took place last week. Government was considering the amendment of Public Road Acts 2031, and the provincial government has objected, saying that we make our own act. So that sort of anarchy will be there if we lack to have a unified standard for the provinces, for the entire country. So this is right time to introduce a unified standard applicable to the entire nation. The implementation is the job of the local government and also the provincial government. I think so.
Tulsi sir, I would like to share my experience on it. When I was DG in DOR, I started the amendment because the Nepal Road Act is very small and have no regulation so far. So I started. Then the parliamentary committee called me. This is beyond you. You cannot make the Nepal Road. You just can make highway act because your jurisdiction is limited up to the highways. So I stopped that. This is the situation, and I am looking for the single standard, single master plan, and single act. The federal and the local governments, they can interpret or make some directives or the complementary acts, but the single umbrella act should be there. I am pleading for it, but till now I am not getting success.
Thank you. We have a lot of questions. Let's move to the next question. This question is for Mr. Tulsi Sitola on maintenance. Why is maintenance work very much neglected in developing countries? Because it is not a ribbon cutting project, or why it is there?
Yeah. Thank you, Shyamji. म यसको जवाब चाहिँ नेपालीमा दिन चाहन्छु। मेन्टेनेन्स वर्क चाहिँ प्रत्यक्ष नदेखिने काम रहेछ। यसले चाहिँ भोट पनि नथप्ने रहेछ। हाम्रा नेताजीहरूलाई चाहिँ भोट आउने प्रोजेक्ट चाहियो, रिबन काट्ने ठाउँ चाहियो, अनि रिसोर्स त स्केर्स छँदैछ। त्यसो भएर सानै भए पनि लगेर कुनै नयाँ प्रोजेक्टमा हाल्न पाएदेखि आगामी निर्वाचनमा हामीलाई सजिलो हुन्थ्यो भन्ने पोलिसी मेकरहरूको दाउ। अनि त्यसमा ब्युरोक्राटहरूले केही अडान त लिन्छन्, तर फाइनली सक्दैनन्। नसकेपछि के हुन्छ भनेदेखि स्क्याटर्ड सानो सानो प्रोजेक्टको पैसा जाने, मेन्टेनेन्समा चाहिँ इन्भेस्ट नगर्ने। र अझ हाम्रो नेताहरू पनि कस्तो हुनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि यो हाइवेहरूमा मेन्टेन गरौँ त भन्दाखेरिमा त्यो त अझ उहाँहरूलाई टचै गर्दैन, जनतालाई पनि टच गर्दैन। आम जनताले पनि हाइवेको मेन्टेनेन्स नभएको बेनिफिटलाई चाहिँ त्यो एक्नोलेज गर्दैन। त्यसो भएर यो मेन्टेनेन्सको जब चाहिँ गाह्रो भइरहेछ। त्यसको लागि अहिले रोड स्पोर्ट नेपाल आएपछि अलिकति फन्डिङ चाहिँ आएको छ। त्यो फन्डिङले गर्दाखेरिमा कम्तीमा हामीसँग 50% फन्डिङ चाहिँ छ। वेराज रिभेन्यू चाहिँ फेरि हामी 100% उठाइरहेछ। सबै फ्युल ट्याक्स चाहिँ दिने हो भनेदेखि मेन्टेनेन्सको खर्चमा अभाव हुँदैन। अलिकति हाम्रो यो खर्च गर्ने क्षमता पनि बढाउनु पर्ने छ। सबै मेन्टेनेन्स बजेट हामी युटिलाइज गर्न सकिरहेको छैनौँ। त्यसतर्फ करिब 30% पैसा चाहिँ हामीलाई उपलब्ध भएर पनि खर्च गर्न सकेका छैनौँ। त्यसतर्फ पनि हामीले ध्यान दिनुपर्छ। हिजोभन्दा आज अलिकति बेटर भएको छ, तर पनि हाम्रो इन्टायर मेन्टेनेन्सलाई कभर गर्ने गरी फन्डिङ उपलब्ध गराएर हाम्रो मेन्टेनेन्स एक्टिभिटी बढाउनुपर्छ। त्यसको लागि हामीसँग टुल्स एन्ड टेक्निक्स हुनु पर्यो, पोलिसी मेकरहरूलाई कन्भिन्स गराउन, बाध्य गर्न। हस्, थ्याङ्क यू।
Thank you. Now, I have a question for Dr. Sai. I'm going in an order, so I don't want to overwhelm you with, all the questions. I know there are a lot of questions here. Dr. Sai, for you, the question is, how's the transport service is managed in urban area like Kathmandu Valley? What kind of organizational issues, regulatory issues, road users issues, what kind of issues, you have been experiencing there? Could you share some lights on that?
Okay, thank you. Sam sir. Exactly in Kathmandu, it is provincial. It is central government capital of central capital, and provincial major city for Bagmati province. And here are 3 districts and many more municipalities. Each these authorities, each these tier of the government, they have right to have their own transport act, own transport management act, or transport and traffic management system. Therefore, these systems, suppose in Kathmandu, recently, or maybe 1 year ago, the government, central government has formulated the development infrastructure development committee for public transport management authority. This is not, this is as a not by the act, it is by the government development committee. So the government has started, but this other provincial and the local government, they have their fragmented interest and fragmented service. So these issues shall be addressed by a, that is good concept by Kathmandu Valley as itself, to manage by a authority, but it is not, the act is not, passed by the parliament. And again, there are the many questions about this, the rights of and responsibility of central government, provincial and local government. So most important thing, to coordinate, to collaborate among these institutions, this will give the better result. But as if today's context, the transport and public transport service is really needs very, to improve very big efforts from all these, tiers of the government. That is my view. Thank you, Sam sir. Maybe other questions?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I will go back to planning component. Mr. Keshav Sharma, here is another question for you. The question is, could you share project planning and project prioritization process? How would you select project for roadway projects with limited resources? Are there specific criteria weight given to safety, congestion mitigation, economic development while planning and developing roadway projects? This is a question from Mr. Sarad. And Mr. Sarad, thanks for your question. Yes, Mr. Sharma.
Yes, for the federal roads or national highways, it is being developed as the strategy that all the previously zonal headquarters or district headquarters to be connected by the national road system. Similarly, now after the federal system, the state capitals with 4-lane highway and all the settlements, all the commerce and trade centers to be connected with the at least two-lane road. This is the main strategy. But in federal roads also, there are many small projects. They are overburdened for the Department of Roads and the ministry. These roads comes from not with the periodic plans or the master plan, sectoral plan, PIP, as I already expressed, presented in my slide. There are good 20-year master plan with us. After that, there is PIP in place, revision of the PIP, then 5 years prospective plan for MOPIT and DOR, and then the periodic plans. But the politicians, sometimes they don't stand for that and they bring new projects for implementation. This is the problem. Otherwise, we have the road plans. Is for the 20-year master plan 2003-22, we invested, for example, we invested 10,000 kilometers for central road system, but now we have almost 150% more roads. That is almost 15,000 kilometers, but some of them are out of our plan. So sometimes not complied.
Thank you. And here is another question for Dr. Parajali. Sir, Mr. Santosh Dhakal has a question. It's a little interesting question here. If we design roads based on engineering judgment, there will be a lot of conflict. There should be a uniform national road standard in Nepal to control quality and also corruption. I think we are not just designing by engineering judgment, not totally. Definitely there will be a lot behind when you explained about the extended domain and design by exceptions. So could you please elaborate on that a little more?
Okay, thank you. I think there are two aspects in this question. One question is whether the engineers are to be free for choosing anything. That is not the concept in NDD in my presentation to explain the use of normal design domain, the extended design domain and design by exception. It is in no way is the replacement of the standards. What I am emphasizing in that we need to have a range of values that can be used, that can be suited in different contexts and different environment. It is about providing the flexibility to the engineers at the same time following the Nepal road standards, whatever, which should, in my view, incorporate those three different domains in the design. So that is first aspect. Probably I answered that question. It is not a judgmental approach. It is about providing more flexibility in choosing the values that are included in the road standards under these three different domains. So we are not suggesting anything from the engineer's head only. That will be written document in the Nepal road standards. That is one thing. And the other aspect is probably Keshav sir or Tulsi sir can elaborate on that, whether there should be one unified standards. Keshavji already mentioned what are the problems associated with that call, that we need to have one national standards. The government, currently the whole state is still in the formation of the restructuring process, not role of what is role of local government, that is the role of state government, what is the role of central government in coordinating the delivery of transport system and infrastructure is still being debated, and then hopefully that will be stabilized in due course of time. And the national government in the model of Australia, probably they provide the leading role in the development of national road standards, and by keeping within that national road standards, the federal government, the local government and provincial government, they can develop their one bystanders. It's not something that they have to develop their one standards in conflict to the national road standards, but they have to be complementary with each other. The national road standards should set the direction, and the provincial government and local government on their one asset, they can have the flexibility to develop their one bystanders, whatever we call it. That is something that would need a leadership in the center for that purpose, definitely. And the MOPIT probably is the right agency in taking that leading role. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know we have still a lot of questions and suggestions here. Thakurji, we are pretty close to 12 midnight in East Coast here in the USA. And I truly appreciate, all the effort we have been putting here for this, and it is, I think it might be too much to ask to go further, much further from here. I know we have a lot of questions, so what we could do is compile all these questions and send to our presenters, and they can respond, and we can put those in our website. So I think that would be another way to reach with all of our audience here who are so actively participating and so interested in this very important topic of transportation. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that the
we
right
can, yeah,
approach?
I think we can do that. Let's do that, and that way all the people can be relieved from staying too late.
Yes. So now I would like to give this floor to you if you would like to share anything from the society's perspectives as a president of the society.
All right, thank you so much, श्याम सर. म नेपालीमै भन्छु. के छ भने यो यसरी हाम्रो यो प्रोग्राम जुन कोअर्डिनेट गर्नुभयो, सर्वप्रथम त डाक्टर श्याम शर्मालाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. उहाँले नै हो यो कोअर्डिनेट गर्नुभएको. त्यसपछि हाम्रो सोटेनका प्रेसिडेन्ट पदमबहादुर साईज्यू, उहाँले चाहिँ नेपालमा जुन सोटेनको तर्फबाट यति धेरै अडियन्सहरू समावेश गर्नुभयो, प्लस उहाँले चाहिँ कोअर्डिनेट गरेर हामीलाई यो जुन यो संयुक्त रूपमा सोटेन र एएसएन एनजिआरले यो आयोजना गर्ने अवसर दिनुभयो, उहाँलाई पनि धेरै धन्यवाद. मेरा गुरु पार्थमणि पराजुलीज्यू, अर्थात् अल्सो नोन एज पिएमपी भन्थ्यौँ हामी कलेजमा पढ्दाखेरि. उहाँलाई पनि धेरै धन्यवाद. उहाँलाई प्रत्यक्ष भेट्न देख्न पाइयो 25-30 वर्षपछि.
उहाँ हामी सबैको गुरु नै हो.
हजुर. र तुलसी दाई र केशव दाई दुवैजना मेरो सिनियर हुनुहुन्छ र हामी त्यही बेलादेखिको चिन्जान हो, तर अहिले धेरै समयपछि देख्न पाइयो. र यहाँहरूलाई धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. जुन यो हाई लेभल नेपालको बर्ड्स आई भ्यू अफ ट्रान्सपोर्टेसन हामीले जुन प्रस्तुत गऱ्यौँ आज, इट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट. र हामी अब फ्युचरको डेमा maybe we will break down the topic and discuss an individual topic, maybe in 3 months or 6 months, whatever works for all of us. Okay, that will be a good idea to share our knowledge and experience. मैले यहाँ देखिरहेको छु, lot of transportation engineers from USA have made comments here. I know a lot of them. उहाँहरू ट्रान्सपोर्टेसन फिल्डमा धेरै काम गर्नुभएको छ यहाँ, र उहाँहरूलाई जिज्ञासा जुन नेपालमा भइरहेको एक्टिभिटीको बारेमा जिज्ञासाहरू जुन देखेर क्वेसन गर्नुभएको छ, द्याट इज रियल्ली इम्प्रेसिभ र राम्रो छ. र हामीले हाम्रो यो अमेरिकन सोसाइटी अफ नेप्लिज इन्जिनियर्सको काम पनि के छ भने अहिले यतिखेर हामी एक्सपिरियन्स सेयरिङ, विशेष गरी प्रोफेसनलहरू अल अराउन्ड द ग्लोब जो नेपाली प्रोफेसनल हुनुहुन्छ, सबैको एक्सपिरियन्स सेयरिङ गर्यो भने नेपालमा भएको कामबाट हामीले यहाँ नलेज गेन गर्न सक्छौँ. यहाँबाट भएकोले अस्ट्रेलियाका साथीले नलेज गेन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ. दिस इज अ ह्युज प्लेटफर्म. त्यस कारणले यो एउटा अनगोइङ इफोर्ट हामी वेब सिरिजको नाममा हामीले सुरु गरेका छौँ, र यो एभ्री मन्थ अहिले सुरु गरेका छौँ. र भोलि हाम्रो रिसोर्सेसहरू र हाम्रो चाहिँ सबै कुराहरू भोलिन्टियरहरू एभाइलेबल भयो भने यसलाई मोर फ्रिक्वेन्ट रूपमा चाहिँ हामी सञ्चालन गर्नेछौँ. र त्यस्तै त्यसमा यो एक्सपिरियन्स सेयरिङमा हामीले अर्को एउटा प्रोग्राम पनि सुरु गरेका छौँ. नेपालमा स्टुडेन्ट एडभाइजिङ प्रोग्राम भनेर सुरु गरेका छौँ. हाम्रो यहाँ 20-40 जना प्रोफेसनलहरूले नेपालको स्टुडेन्टलाई यहाँबाट एडभाइजिङ गर्ने, उहाँको स्टडीमा रिसर्चमा देखि लिएर गएर यहाँ यो चाहिँ उहाँको आफ्नै एडभाइजर हुन्छ नेपालमा, तर यहाँ चाहिँ सेकेन्डरी रूपमा केही क्वेसन भयो भने उहाँको एडभाइजरले फुल्ली टाइम दिन नसक्ने अवस्थामा पनि यहाँबाट चाहिँ अलिकति सपोर्ट गर्ने खालको, अथवा रिसर्चको ट्रेन्ड कुन ठाउँमा कस्तो छ, युएसएमा कस्तो छ, अस्ट्रेलियामा कस्तो छ, र कुन सब्जेक्टमा गर्दाखेरि कसरी गर्दा राम्रो हुन्छ भनेर स्टुडेन्टलाई चाहिँ प्रोफेसनलहरूले दिने एडभाइस एकदम राम्रो छ. र हामीले त्यसलाई चाहिँ हामीले पाइलट प्रोजेक्टको रूपमा पुल्चोकमा अहिले रन गरेका थियौँ. र अब हामी त्यसलाई एक्सपान्ड गरेर मोर युनिभर्सिटिजहरुमा लैजान खोज्दैछौँ र नेक्स्ट इयरदेखि यसले पनि राम्रो एउटा एक्सपिरियन्स शेयरिङको प्लेटफर्म बन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ। त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि हामी यो लेट्स कन्टिन्यू त्यही भन्न चाहन्छु र त्यसमा थप केही एड गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने म पदमबहादुर साईज्यूलाई दुई शब्द व्यक्त गर्दिनु।
Yes, please, Dr. Sai.
थ्याङ्क यू श्याम सर, थ्याङ्क यू ढकाल सर। वास्तवमा अब अलिकति सोसाइटी हाम्रो सोसाइटी अफ ट्रान्सपोर्ट इन्जिनियर्स नेपाल सोतेन हामीले चाहिँ लगभग 10-11 वर्ष पहिला हामीले गठन गरेका हौँ। त्यसको फाउन्डर मेम्बर हाम्रो फाउन्डर प्रेसिडेन्ट तुलसी सर यहीँ हुनुहुन्छ। अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हामी वास्तवमा ट्रान्सपोर्ट सेक्टरका इस्युहरू अघि हामीले हाम्रा 4वटा प्रेजेन्टेसनबाट पनि सबैले बुझ्न सक्छौँ, देख्न सक्छौँ। हाम्रा इस्युहरू तपाईँहरू जो विदेशमा पर्फेक्टली काम गरिरहनु भएको छ, अहिलेको कन्टेक्स्ट अनुसार नयाँ टेक्नोलोजी, नयाँ प्रिन्सिपल, नयाँ भनौँ न थट अनुसार त्यसलाई अलिकति भए पनि हामीले सिक्न पाए, देशमा केही गर्न सक्थ्यौँ भन्ने हाम्रो एउटा आशा छ। भनेपछि अर्को पक्ष भनेको हामीले वास्तवमा जो जहाँ भए पनि हामी नेपाली हौँ, नेपालको लागि अलिकति केही गरौँ कि भन्ने हाम्रो उद्देश्य पनि हो, तपाईँहरूको पनि उद्देश्य भएकै हुनाले अब जे होस् नि, अब आउँदा दिनहरूमा ट्रान्सपोर्ट सेक्टरलाई हामी अवश्य पनि विभिन्न फोरम मार्फत हामी केही न केही सिक्न पाउनेछौँ। एउटा कुरा त्यो भन्न चाहे। त्यसपछि यो हाम्रो जुन सोसाइटी छ, हामी सोसाइटी जस्तै हाम्रो सोसाइटीको अहिले हामी रिसेन्टली कोरियन सोसाइटी अफ ट्रान्सपोर्ट भन्ने एउटा ठुलो अर्गनाइजेसन छ, त्योसँग हामी जोइन्टली जाने भनेर एमओयू भएको छ। त्यस्तै गरेर हाम्रो इस्ट एसिया सोसाइटी ट्रान्सपोर्ट स्टडिज भन्ने भन्ने एउटा एकदम राम्रो संस्था छ ट्रान्सपोर्ट सेक्टरको, हजुरलाई थाहा होला। त्योसँग पनि हामी जोइन्टली काम गरिरहेका छौँ, अथवा हामी धेरै वर्षदेखि गरिरहेका छौँ। जोइन्टली हामी कन्फरेन्स अर्गनाइज गर्छौँ। त्यस्तै गरेर हामी गभर्मेन्ट इन्स्टिट्युसन नेपालको भनौँ सडक विभाग भयो, रेल विभाग भयो, मिनिस्ट्री भयो, सबैसँग हाम्रो अहिले एमओयू गरेर गभर्मेन्टको तर्फबाट हामी के गर्न सकिन्छ गभर्मेन्टलाई एसिस्ट गर्ने हिसाबले नै हामी लागिरहेका छौँ। अघि उठ्यो रोड, जस्तै रोड नेपाल रोड स्ट्यान्डर्ड कुरा उठ्यो। रिसेन्टली हामी सडक विभागसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि सडक विभागले सोतेनलाई चाहिँ ल तपाईँहरूको एउटा फोरमबाट यसलाई चाहिँ रिभ्युज गर्नुहोस् न त, हामीले इस्यु उठाइरहन्छौँ सधैँ, तपाईँहरूलाई दिने भनेर त्यसरी भनेको छ। त्यो भएपछि पनि हामी जोइन्टली यहाँ अब अघि भनिसक्नुभयो सरले, ढकाल सरले, अब हुन त श्याम सरै यही सेक्टरमा लागेको हुनुभयो, अब पार्थ सर हामीसँगै हुनुहुन्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हामी इन्टरनेसनल कम्युनिटीलाई अलिकति भए पनि हामीले धेरै इनपुट लिन सक्छौँ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अब हामी जोइन्टली जानुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो एउटा एकदम रिक्वेस्ट पनि छ। त्यसलाई सायद स्वीकार्नु हुनेछ, एउटा कुरा त्यो भने। त्यसपछि लास्टमा आज जुन अर्गनाइज गर्नुभयो श्याम सरले, हुन त हामी साथी हौँ, हुन त सबैले आफ्नो रिलेसन बताउनु भयो। पार्थ सर हामी सबैको सरै हो, तुलसी सर हाम्रो सिनियरै हो, केशव सर हुनुहुन्छ सँगसँगै काम गर्ने। अब ढकाल सरसँग आज चिन्जानु भयो। म र श्याम सर त सँगै एउटै होस्टेलमा सँगै पढेको, सँगै क्लासमा सँगै पढेर कोही कतै, कोही पूर्व, कोही पश्चिम, कोही उत्तर दक्षिण भएकै हो। वास्तवमा अलिकति केही गरौँ ट्रान्सपोर्ट सेक्टरमा। हामी अब 20औं वर्षदेखि लागिरहेका छौँ, सबैजना लागिरहेका छौँ। अलिकति पनि केही भयो भनेपछि देशमा केही कन्ट्रिब्युसन गर्न सकिन्छ। किनभने साँच्चै भन्यो भने हाम्रो देशमा यो टेक्नोलोजी भनौँ अथवा कन्सेप्टको कुरा अथवा इन्जिनियरिङ, वास्तवमा यी सरहरूले भनिसक्नुभयो, सबै राजनीतिज्ञ नेताहरूले नै इन्जिनियरिङलाई लगिसकेका छन्। त्यसलाई अलिकति इन्जिनियरिङ बनाउन सक्यो भनेपछि हामी केही कन्ट्रिब्युसन गर्न सक्छौँ। यसको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। आजको कार्यक्रमको लागि फेरि पनि हामी अवश्य पनि भेट्नेछौँ। थ्याङ्क यू ढकाल सर, श्याम सर, थ्याङ्क यू।
Thank you so much. Thank you for being available and for your time, effort, energy, to make this webinar so successful. I see a lot of interest here, and if the interest persists in the future too, we may have another seminar even more focused on certain topics of transportation. Let's stay tuned and let's collaborate.
हजुर, जानुभन्दा अगाडि हाम्रो जुन अहिले हामी अगाडि जुन प्यानलको रूपमा देखेका छौँ, त्योभन्दा पछाडि काम गर्ने हाम्रो हेल्प गर्ने साथीहरू पनि हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँहरूलाई म हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। हाम्रो कमेन्टहरू जेनेरेट गरेर श्याम सरसम्म पुर्याउने र यो वेबसाइटलाई हाम्रो चाहिँ कन्ट्रोल गर्ने काम पनि हाम्रो साथीहरूले गर्नुभएको छ। डाक्टर निपेश प्रधानाङ्ग जो चाहिँ एसिस्टेन्ट प्रोफेसर हुनुहुन्छ फ्लोरिडामा, उहाँलाई म हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यस्तै सूर्य थापाज्यू हाम्रो जेनरल सेक्रेटरी, उहाँ ओहायोमा बस्नुहुन्छ, उहाँले पनि अहिले यो सबै म्यानेजमेन्ट स्लाइड सोदेखि सबै हेल्प गरिराख्नु भएको छ। र त्यस्तै डाक्टर आनन्द पौडेलजी कोलोराडोमा हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँले यो वेब सिरिजको कोअर्डिनेटिङ गर्नुभएको छ, उहाँलाई पनि हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। त्यस्तै अरू साथीहरू जसले यो चाहिँ हाम्रो सोसियल मिडियामा आएका कमेन्टहरू र रेस्पोन्ड गर्नुभएको छ र यहाँसम्म चाहिँ हेल्प गरिदिनु भएको छ, उहाँहरूलाई पनि हार्दिक धन्यवाद।